A radar is an electric device for detection and location of objects. It operates by transmission of radio energy and detects nature of reflected energy. Given its obvious capabilities, it has tremendous military application. Functional description. The basic functioning of the BFSR Mark II depends on the transmission of 2600 pulses of RF energy per second in a narrow beam from its antenna. Between pulses, the radar receives energy reflected back to its antenna from any object in the path of the antenna beam. Target modulation. The BFSR Mark II is a non-coherent pulse Doppler system. In this type of a radar, target detection is possible only when target movement takes place in the presence of a fixed background. Target detection will be difficult in certain conditions. Target detection is difficult in case the background is very large compared to the target. An example is a man crawling in front of a huge building. Target detection is also difficult in case the background signal is very small. For example, a large vehicle moving in a valley. Target modulation. The BFSR Mark II is a non-coherent pulse Doppler system. In this type of a radar, target detection is possible only when target movement takes place in the presence of a fixed background. Target detection will be difficult in certain conditions. Target detection is difficult in case the background is very large compared to the target. An example is a man crawling in front of a huge building. Target detection is also difficult in case the background signal is very small. For example, a large vehicle moving in a valley. The Doppler effect. Consider that there are 5 fixed targets T1 to T5. The echo signal returned from these targets can be represented by FT1 to FT5. Since all of them are fixed echoes, FTR will represent the resultant vector of these echoes. In case now there is a moving target in the same area, say MT, the return signal echo of MT with reference to FTR will vary over 360 degrees. Each time the moving target traverses a distance equal to half the wavelength, which in the case of the BFSR Mark II is 1.5 centimeters. Thus, a phase change of 180 degrees corresponding to a target movement of 0.75 centimeters will result in the amplitude of the resultant signal to vary from a maximum to a minimum value. Hence, a continuously moving target produces a resultant signal which varies in amplitude in a sinusoidal manner. The frequency or rate of variation of this amplitude depends on the speed of movement of the target. In the BFSR Mark II, these Doppler frequencies are in the range of 40 centimeters per second to 1200 centimeters per second, for target speeds varying from 2 kilometers per hour to 64 kilometers per hour, which are in the lower audio band. Therefore, echoes from moving targets like men and vehicles can be heard on headsets. The power converter subsystem. It receives 24 volt DC from battery and converts to voltage required by radar. It protects the radar from overload currents and incorrect input polarity. It generates master timing pulses for the system. The modulator subsystem. It generates high voltage negative DC pulses at the required pulse repetition rate. The RF subsystem, it generates and radiates RF pulses. It receives RF target echoes. It converts target echoes from RF to IF, and it provides confidence check facility. The receiver subsystem, it converts target echo signals at IF to video signals. The signal processing subsystem, it generates surveillance gates for target detection and range gate for target ranging. It selects surveillance zones, it extracts Doppler from video, it filters and amplifies the Doppler frequencies and provides audio tones to headsets. Range readout subsystem, it generates clock frequencies to drive displays target range in meters. It monitors external power supply voltage and provides lamp indication for replacement of batteries. It filters and amplifies the Doppler frequencies and provides audio tones to headsets. The modes of operation of the BFSR Mark II. There are two basic functions the BFSR Mark II performs. The first is the determination of the presence or absence of a moving target in a given sector within its range capability. Having determined that the moving target is present within the radar's coverage, the second function is to obtain information regarding the position of the target, that is, the azimuth angle and the range, the nature of target, that is, vehicle or personal, and the activity the target is involved in. Keeping this in mind, the signal processing circuit of the BFSR Mark II can be operated in two modes. The surveillance mode. In this mode of operation, the detection range of 3,200 meters is divided into 4 surveillance zones, each of 800 meters. Each of these surveillance zones, in turn, consists of 8 surveillance gates. In case a moving target exists in a particular zone, a Doppler signal is heard. The ranging mode. Having determined the presence of a moving target, the ranging mode enables the target range to be obtained. In this mode, the target can also be tracked as the signal processing subsystem generates a single range gate of 0.66 microns width, corresponding to a range of 100 meters, which can be continuously moved by a ranging handwheel. Thus, the target detected in a particular zone can now be pinpointed up to the nearest 100 meters. The modes of operation of the BFSR Mark II. The range of detection. Of moving personnel is 1500 meters. The range of detection of moving vehicles is 3000 meters. The range of detection of moving vehicles is 3000 meters. The range of detection of crawling personnel is 800 meters. The minimum range of the BFSR Mark II is 150 meters. The BFSR Mark II has a 360 degrees manual coverage. The setting up time of the BFSR Mark II is 5 minutes. The BFSR Mark II has got a 24-volt nickel cadmium battery which has got a maximum life of 4 hours. The weight of various components is as follows. The radar unit is 6.4 kgs, the battery pack is 7.5 kgs, and the tripod stand is 2.2 kg. The BFSR Mark II transmits RF pulses at a frequency of 9750 MHz. Installation procedure. Unpack the legs on a level piece of ground and open them. Extend the legs till the required height is obtained and lock them. Screw in the control handle and loosen the base plate locking knurled knob. Remove the radar unit and mount it on the tripod mounting. Position the radar in such a way so as to ensure the antenna faces away from the operator. Lock the knurled knob and fix the waveguide dipole onto the antenna reflector. Connect the headset assembly. Connect the power cable to the input 24-volt connector on the left side of the radar casing. Now connect the battery and ensure that power is switched off before making the battery connection. Thereafter, place the pentaprism on the range readout window, which is useful for the operator to read the range values without exposing his face. The equipment is now ready for operation. The controls on the tripod stand. Input 12-volt DC. It receives voltage from radar to illuminate the azimuth dial. The illumination on or off switch. It switches on the bulb in the azimuth dial. The controls on the tripod stand. Input 12 volt DC. It receives voltage from radar to illuminate the azimuth dial. The illumination on or off switch. It switches on the bulb in the azimuth dial. After installing the radar, various controls of the radar unit are set as indicated before applying power to the radar. The power switch must be off, the RX tune must be fully counterclockwise, and the surveillance zone selector must be in position 1, that is for 0 to 800 meters. Before operating the BFSR Mark II, certain performance checks must be carried out. These are the battery status indicator, range display, hissing noise in the headset, conf check switch. The RX tune switch should be adjusted to the minimum. The operating procedure. Once the radar has been installed, checked and switched on, put the surveillance zone selector on position 1, that is for 0 to 800 meters. Move the antenna in azimuth from its initial reference position in a slow, smooth and continuous manner over the sector to be covered from left to right. After covering the sector, set the... Before operating the BFSR Mark II, certain performance checks must be carried out. These are the battery status indicator, range display. The operating procedure. Once the radar has been installed, checked and switched on, put the surveillance zone selector on position 1, that is for 0 to 800 meters. Move the antenna in azimuth from its initial reference position in a slow, smooth and continuous manner over the sector to be covered from left to right. After covering the sector, set the surveillance zone selector switch to position 2 and move the antenna in the reverse direction. Similarly, cover zones 3 and 4. Complete the surveillance and bring the antenna to its initial position. Continue the surveillance till as long as required. Observe for any audio signals in the headset. The radar can similarly carry out surveillance of a sector in a given fixed azimuth direction. In this case, the antenna need not be moved from left to right. Once a target has been detected, the ranging can be carried out by switching over to the ranging mode. In order to find out the range, the ranging hand wheel will be required. The coordinated movement of the ranging hand wheel and the antenna in azimuth will ensure efficient tracking of a moving target. Before operating the BFSR, the switching off procedure. Bring the surveillance or ranging switch to surveillance position, switch the power off, remove battery connections, remove power cable connection from input 24 volt DC connector, remove headset connector, and finally remove the BNC cable from connector on tripod stand. The BFSR Mark II consists of two major functional parts, the radar unit and the tripod stand. The radar unit. The radar unit measures 40.4 centimeters in length and in width, and it is 16.6 centimeters in breadth, which includes the corner handles, and it weighs approximately 6.4 kgs. The radar unit casing is made of aluminium. The parabolic reflector of the antenna assembly and the waveguide dipole feed used as the primary radiator are the important functional components. The operating controls are located on the side of the unit, and a transparent window is provided on top of the unit, inside which are located the range indicator and battery status indicator. The various electronic subsystems and components are mounted inside the casing. The radar unit can, with the help of a tube, be mounted on the tripod stand. The tripod stand. The tripod stand consists of a mounting head assembly and 3 telescopic legs. The radar unit can be mounted on the mounting head assembly and is fixed with the help of a knurled knob. A calibration scale is fitted on the mounting head for azimuth with graduation in degrees from 0 to 360. An incandescent lamp illuminates the azimuth scale. The mounting head assembly can be rotated in azimuth over 360 degrees. The mounting head can also be laid for a limited amount of elevation tilt and locked at the desired angle. The telescopic legs are of adjustable length, and the height of the tripod stand can vary between 61 centimeters and 133 centimeters. The BFSR Mark II is a line of sight equipment. Therefore, any obstruction in its path will limit its detection capabilities. The BFSR Mark II cannot detect static targets. The BFSR Mark II is limited in its performance by a minimum range, which is 150 meters. The BFSR Mark II cannot be operated remotely. The BFSR Mark II, being an electronic equipment, is susceptible to electronic jamming. The BFSR is susceptible to a false effect of noise. Mountainous country is defined as country which is at least 1,500 meters in height and is characterized by steep slopes and deep valleys. The mountainous terrain combined with climatic variations severely impairs the mobility of forces. It affects their organization and equipment and has considerable bearing on strategic, tactical and logistic concepts, and above all, it demands a very high standard of physical fitness and endurance. In our context, the mountainous regions can be classified into 3 categories, namely low altitude, high altitude and glacier areas. The peculiar characteristics of high altitude, glaciers and extreme cold weather conditions influence military tactics and logistics. The employment of BFSR, being a line of sight equipment, is severely restricted due to the mountainous regions. However, if suitably employed, it can prove to be a force multiplier. In mountains, the BFSR Mark II can be effectively used in offensive operations for obtaining the following information: information of enemy deployment, information of enemy early warning elements, information regarding enemy pattern of patrolling. In mountains, the BFSR Mark II can be effectively used for defensive operations. These are surveillance of gaps in defenses and likely infiltration routes, surveillance of likely enemy approaches. As part of early warning elements, provide information for launching spoiling attack, and surveillance of likely enemy FUPs and forward assembly areas. The plains area of our country stretches from Jammu to the northern part of Rajasthan. It is primarily cultivated land which is crisscrossed by a number of obstacle systems. These obstacle systems are the DCB, canal, and the Dhusi. These obstacles have been primarily made as anti-tank obstacles. Being open country, the BFSR has an important role to play to detect enemy movement and warn of his intentions. Surveillance of enemy deployment, including forward zone elements, and provide information of enemy pattern of patrolling. Surveillance of own routes of movement, surveillance of own FUP and forward assembly area, assist in bridgehead protection, provide early warning of enemy in conjunction with forward zone elements as part of overall surveillance plan. Surveillance of enemy movement, surveillance of likely enemy FUP and forward assembly areas, surveillance of area for enemy heliborne threat, The desert sector of our border stretches for almost 1000 kilometers, primarily in Rajasthan and Gujarat. Most of the region is sandy, arid, and thinly populated. The road communications are poor, however, in certain areas they are fairly well developed. Paucity of water resources is a common feature. Recently, certain ecological changes have taken place, resulting in the capability of limited cross-country movement. Hence, the term semi-desert has come into being. This is primarily open country and the BFSR will play an important role in this type of terrain. Provide information of enemy deployment, including forward zone elements, as part of the overall surveillance plan. Surveillance of own routes of movement, surveillance of own FUP and forward assembly areas. The line of control exists in the Jammu and Kashmir state. The altitude of hills and valleys ranges from about 2000 feet to 10,000 feet. The line of control crosses the valleys, ridges, and spurs against the grain of the country, posing problems for defending these high grounds and valleys. Dominating features along the line are designated as key localities, which form grounds of considerable tactical importance for holding forward defended localities. The primary task of troops occupying defenses in such areas is to maintain the sanctity of the line of control. The BFSR Mark II will play an important role in ensuring the sanctity of the line of control. For offensive operations on the LC, the BFSR Mark II can be used as follows. provide information of enemy deployment, provide information of likely infiltration routes and gaps in enemy defenses, surveillance of own FUP and forward assembly areas, surveillance of own routes of advance, information of enemy patrolling. For defensive operations along the LC, the BFSR Mark II can be used as follows. For surveillance of area of responsibility, surveillance of gaps in defenses and likely infiltration routes, surveillance of enemy movement, surveillance of likely enemy FUP and assembly areas, surveillance of rear areas.